Hello and welcome to the Telegraph studio and Business Reporters Supporting SMEs campaign, hosted by the Telegraph Online. I'm Alistair Greener. Now, companies who need to run a fleet on the roads as part of their everyday operation want to be prompt and efficient, but traffic and risks on the roads are as nebulous as the weather and almost impossible to plan for. So, to discuss how logistics and operations can be improved, I'm talking to John Watkins from TrackMate. Good morning.
Hello.
So let's say that I'm a utility company and I've got an armada of vehicles that are out there every day. Everything's going fine, but then all of a sudden, one month, I notice that my complaints are starting to go up and up and up. What do you think might be going wrong?
Well, as a fleet manager, I think things we worry about most are the things that we think are outside our control. You know, we send our vehicles out and they encounter traffic jams, bad weather, breakdowns, perhaps even accidents. And these are things that we worry about because we can't control them. Our customer sees what happens because they're late, and actually the customer's unhappy with us. And so although we might feel they're out of our control, actually we are responsible for dealing with it.
The thing is, we can all put sat-navs in every single vehicle and that's going to tell us about any alterations, traffic jams and things like that. Surely that's going to help, isn't it?
Well, sat-navs are part of the solution, but they're not enough on their own. Sat-navs don't connect to the vehicle, so they don't have any access to the vehicle diagnostic situation. They don't do any optimization, so you can't plan 10 journeys in it and optimize that, or plan the vehicle's load itself. They don't have driver behavior connectivity, and they don't connect to a tachograph either.
You talked there about driver behaviour activity. What sort of things are you looking for there?
Well, I think the thing about driver behaviour is that the driver can influence quite a lot of the things that actually incur you cost or risk. The driver can drive a lot less fuel efficiently than he could, and he can drive in a much more risky fashion than he could. And so understanding how the driver is driving is important to the success of running your fleet, and indeed whether you're competitive cost-wise in the end.
Now, some of the information you're talking about isn't that difficult to get, like location and things like that, but others are a little bit harder, like, you know, the driver behaviour and things. So what do you at TrackMate do? How do you connect all of this together?
Well, the driver behaviour is very much around collecting the data of how fast he's driving, how hard he's accelerating, how hard he's braking. And we use these things so that we can profile the driver for risk, so that we understand if he's more likely to have accidents than somebody else, and we profile him for fuel economy, so that could he be actually incurring a lot lower fuel cost for you. And by measuring lots of parameters off the vehicle and off the telematics device, we can profile a driver and we can feed back and we can coach the driver and we can change his behavior. And we score someone between 1 and 100, and it's usually the top 10 that we have to deal with and get the biggest impact from. We're also looking to understand how the vehicle itself is performing. So we do vehicle health checks continuously. We understand the battery condition. We're looking for sensor data off the vehicle, and this helps us know whether the vehicle is being maintained properly and whether it needs service. And if we do that in advance of a breakdown, that clearly saves customer satisfaction. We connect to the tachograph so that we get real-time data off the back of the tachograph, and we can provide data for the legal compliance reasons. We provide cameras, and cameras are very useful for both after a crash reconstruction and understanding what happened, but also for driver behavior change. We talked about that before, but we've got examples where a customer of ours, Eurocar Parts, fitted cameras and they reduced their accidents by 20% because the driver knew these things were being measured. TNT, I think, improved their customer safety awareness by about 75%. And then the final thing we do, which is perhaps the most important, is that we integrate telematics with optimization. And by planning journeys in the most efficient way and loading the vehicles in the most efficient way, we can save a considerable amount of fuel and therefore CO2, because in the end fuel translates to CO2, and so people's green credentials and their fuel efficiency and their costs are all impacted by what we do.
So you've got a lot of information coming in, a lot of data coming in, and I presume you put together some form of report. I mean, what does that look like?
Well, customers vary. Some customers want a lot of data because they can embed that in their management systems, and they use it to improve their business intelligence, whether that's connected to expense tracking, whether it's around improving the efficiency of their operations. But most of our customers, particularly the small, medium fleet customer, they can't absorb the data in a complicated way, and they want simple insights presented in a simple way. So we have bar graphs, things like fridge magnets, we have pie charts, we have mobile apps, and all this is designed to give very complicated data, very intuitive, valuable insights in a very simple to absorb way.
So you've got a huge amount of information here that you've managed to gather, and you've got a big report. I mean, how much difference does this actually really make?
It's huge. A typical fleet's costs are predominantly in fuel, in labour, in maintenance, insurance, tyres. And that accounts for about 66% of the operating cost of a fleet. And through implementing a really wide range telematics solution as I've described, you can improve the labour efficiency, you can improve the fuel efficiency, you can reduce your insurance bills through improving your risk, and tyres and the serviceability of the vehicle all get improved by implementing a telematic solution of the sort that TrackMate make.
So is this only about responding to claims to make them faster and dealing with other issues?
Well, clearly if you can respond to a claim quickly, you might give a better experience for the guy who's had the accident, but you can also reduce your costs by being in control of the claim. But it's not about that really. It's really about understanding the driver's likelihood of a claim and helping to coach him and train him so it's less likely. And that will be both benefit for your reputation and for your costs.
Now, things are changing all the time. We now hear more and more about the Internet of Things. Driverless cars are on the horizon as well. What are the sort of trends that you're seeing now, and how do you see them going into the future?
Well, they're describing the autonomous cars in they're grading them between semi-autonomous to fully autonomous. And I think there were 300,000 cars that were semi-autonomous put on the roads last year. And the prediction is by 2030, there will be 40 million cars sold in that year that will be semi-autonomous. I think fully autonomous is further away. But we're clearly very much part of that because the stuff we do is around driver assistance, around Internet of Things, around big data. And so we think we have a role to play in it as it evolves.
Well, this is certainly fascinating information for anybody who has a fleet of vehicles, and there's a lot to learn here and some exciting times ahead. John Watkins from TrackMate, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.